We love food colored green, bell peppers and long string beans, pickles, celery, cucumbers too. All these foods are good for you.
Welcome to Storytime Cooks, where we learn about food through books. Today we're reading a book I had never read before. It's called Thank You, Sarah, the Woman Who Saved Thanksgiving. It's by Laurie Anderson, illustrated by Matt Faulkner, and it's a Simon Schuster book. You think you know everything about Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is coming up, don't you? How the Native Americans saved the Pilgrims from starving. And you see pictures of all these Native Americans and the Pilgrims. How the Pilgrims held a big feast to celebrate and say thank you. Turkey, pumpkin pie, cranberries, the works. And they're having a nice big meal. Well, listen up. I have a news flash. We almost lost Thanksgiving. Wonder what happened. Didn't know that, did you? It's true. Well, way back when skirts were long and hats were tall, Thanksgiving was fading away. Sure, the folks up in New England celebrated it. They'd roast a turkey and invite their relatives when the harvest came in, but not in the South, not in the West, not even the Middle Atlantic states. More and more people ignored the holidays. Thanksgiving was in trouble. It needed a superhero. Let's see who that's going to be. No, not that kind. Thanksgiving needed a real superhero, someone bold and brave and stubborn and smart. Thanksgiving needed Sarah Hale. Now, I know what you're thinking. She doesn't look like a superhero. This is a picture of Sarah. She looks like a dainty little lady. Never underestimate the power of a dainty little lady. Look how long her skirts were. That was what they wore when she was alive. Sarah Hale was every inch of a superhero. Not only did she fight for Thanksgiving, she fought for playgrounds for kids, schools for girls, historical monuments for everyone. She argued against spanking, pie for breakfast, dull stories, bloomers and bustles, and very serious things like slavery. She had lots of ideas that she wanted people to know about. If that wasn't enough, she raised 5 children. She wrote poetry, children's books, novels, biographies, was the first female magazine editor in America, published great American authors like Henry Wadsworth Longfellow and Edgar Allan Poe, and she composed Mary Had a Little Lamb. That's something that we probably all know. How did she do all these things? She was bold and brave and stubborn and smart, and Sarah Hale had a secret weapon, a pen. And her pen was actually a feather. We don't use feathers to write anymore, but that's what she had to use. When Sarah saw something she didn't like, she picked up her pen and she wrote about it. She wrote letters, she wrote articles, she wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote until she persuaded people to make the world a better place. Nothing stopped Sarah. And here's pictures of all of her 5 children, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. While they were asleep, she was busy writing. Sarah Hale loved Thanksgiving. She wanted the whole country to celebrate it on the same day. When folks started to ignore Thanksgiving, well, that just curdled her gravy. She picked up her pen and she wrote letters, thousands of letters, asking politicians to make Thanksgiving a national holiday. She wrote magazine articles asking her readers for help. The women of America listened. They put down their babies, their hoes, their skillets, their washing, and they picked up their pens and they wrote. The letters arrived, the politicians listened too. One by one, the states officially made Thanksgiving a holiday. But that wasn't good enough. Sarah Hale wanted the whole country to celebrate together like a family. So she went to the top. She wrote a letter to the president himself, and the president then was Zachary Taylor. He refused. Did that stop Sarah? No. She waited for the next election, and she wrote to the new president, Millard Fillmore, and he said no too. Did that stop Sarah? No. She was bold and brave and stubborn and smart. She wrote to the next president, Franklin Pierce. Wouldn't a national day of Thanksgiving be wonderful? Nope, said President Pierce. Sarah penned 18 letters to President James Buchanan. She gave all the reasons America would be better off if everyone gathered on the fourth Thursday in November to give thanks. But he disagreed. He had other things on his mind. Sarah felt like the stuffing had been kicked out of her. Everything was going wrong. America was at war, the North against the South. States had promised to celebrate Thanksgiving changed their mind. The country was falling apart. It was a bleak and scary time. Did that stop Sarah? No way. Nothing stopped Sarah. Superheroes work the hardest when things get tough, so she picked up her pen and wrote another letter, this time to President Abraham Lincoln. Americans needed Thanksgiving now more than ever. A holiday wouldn't stop the war, but it would help bring the country together. She signed the letter, folded it, and slid it in an envelope. She wrote Mr. Lincoln's name and address on the envelope and stuck it on a stamp. And she mailed the letter. She waited, and she waited, and waited, and then Lincoln said yes. Lincoln said yes. In 1863, Lincoln made Thanksgiving a national holiday, a day for all Americans to give thanks together. It took Sarah Hale 38 years, thousands of letters, and countless bottles of ink, but she did it. Nothing stopped Sarah. The bold, the brave, the stubborn, and smart lady saved Thanksgiving for all of us. Thank you, Sarah. And this is kind of showing what Thanksgiving might look like now. We might watch a parade where there's some big balloons and there might be football and all these families are gathering together. And it's just a fun day for us all to celebrate. Well, when we think of Thanksgiving, we might think of turkeys. And this is a stuffed turkey, not a real one. And this is another fun turkey that's not a real one. We made this turkey out of a pear. And pears are a fruit. They go in this red section of the fruit group. And then, we decorated our turkey by putting some toothpicks in the pear, and then we put some Cheerios on those toothpicks. And you could use different colors of cereal, and cereal would be a grain. It would go in this brown group. So if you wanted to use multi-grain Cheerios or some of the other flavors, it would give some different colors. But that's a fun way to eat your cereal off a toothpick. And then you can eat your fruit. So this would be a good breakfast or a good snack. We made his feet out of some mandarin cutie slices. We used raisins for his eyes. But you could decorate your pear turkey however you wanted. But just remember, as we're thinking about Thanksgiving, it's not just about turkeys. It's about all the things that we're thankful for. And next week, we're going to read a book about that. So we hope you'll come back again and join us for another segment of Storytime Cooks, where we continue to learn about food through books.
We love food.